What's up, bro? It's getting really hot since I've recorded the last video. Just gotta quick take that off for you guys, you know, some little free content for you. Anyway, today I just wanted to make a quick video about what you're doing right now, which is consuming content. Now please don't click off, because I'm not calling you a spurter or anything, saying, oh, you gotta stop watching YouTube, get off and go and do 100 push-ups, right? Hear me out here, guys. Consuming all content isn't bad. Now what makes it bad is what content you consume. Now listen to that again, bro. Consuming content isn't bad, it's the content you're consuming that makes it bad. So consuming content can be healthy, guys. Like, think about it. How do we learn? We learn mostly by consuming content. Believe it or not, I believe that when you pick up a book and learn, it is content and you're consuming. Learning is very healthy, and when you consume content, you have a big choice. You have a choice between consuming content that you know is going to be bad for you. For example, if you just go on Netflix and you just boot up some random series about nothing and you sit there, eat Skittle-covered donuts, lay down and don't do anything for 6 hours. Obviously that's bad for you guys, right? I'm not going to explain to you why that's bad. I'm pretty sure you know, and you should probably feel bad about yourself if you're doing that every day. Just getting on Netflix, wasting your life, getting on Netflix, wasting more time. Not necessarily Netflix. You can watch this stuff on YouTube. You can watch DVDs even that are going to waste your time, like television, whatever. Netflix, please don't ban my channel, right? There's some good stuff on Netflix. There's some good documentaries, for example, about nutrition on Netflix as well. I'm not just trying to save myself. There are some that I've actually watched. This versus, now maybe it's a bit extreme for you guys, but for example, we've got podcasts. And then, even further than podcasts, you've got, for example, educational podcasts. Someone who I can recommend and whose podcast I can recommend is Dr. Andrew Huberman, who, now I'm reading this straight off the internet so I don't mess it up, who is a tenured associate professor in the Department of Neurobiology and Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Stanford University School of Medicine. Basically, this guy knows a lot about the brain and how it functions and speaks about what is what. And he's very good at explaining to everyday guys, everyday bros like you and me, for example, why hot-cold exposure is good for you. He speaks about dopamine, he speaks about all these systems. He had a podcast, or I believe he was on Jordan Peterson's show, where they were speaking about the difference between anxiety and exploration, right? And it's all to do with whether you associate things to be positive or negative, whether you associate that there will be a reward after a certain action. He spoke about, for example, which I was very interested in that episode, which was very relatable. They spoke about how when you associate a certain action with having a reward, so, for example, if I lost my phone and I believe in my head that the phone is in the drawer that I left it at last, I go there. This is a very simple example. Maybe it's wrong, but something like this. And when I go there, if I open the drawer and the phone's not there, and I had believed that the phone's gonna be there, so for example, the reward, so the phone's not there, my dopamine will drop below the baseline. So I will become even more sad, I'll become even more disappointed that the phone wasn't there when I tried to look for it, rather than when I had already lost the phone in the beginning. And vice versa, if I strongly believe that the phone will not be there if I go looking for it, and surprise, surprise, it's there, I get a bigger dopamine hit, and that spikes it, but even after that, I believe it falls below baseline. I can't quite remember that point. But that I found very interesting because it's very relatable to real life. Like, for example, if you're at the gym and you want to hit a PR, if you want to lift some heavy weights, and this has happened to me, maybe it's because of my training partner, for example, but sometimes, let's say on the bench, I was like, oh, I'm going to go for 80 kilos. And my training partners had sneakily put on 2.5 kilos per side, which makes it 85. And then let's say that I rep that out for however many that I believe to be 80. When I stand up and I look at the bar and it's 85, I'm ecstatic. It's tremendous. It's fantastic. It's a feeling that it's amazing, right? So obviously that's the dopamine getting spiked from the fact that I expected a different outcome, or I suppose a more negative outcome, and I've been treated with a more positive outcome, so a bigger reward. That's really interesting. Now I'm very sidetracked about this, guys, because A, it's very interesting to me, and B, I want to make it interesting to you guys, because content or educational content can be very interesting if it's something that you're interested in, right? If that probably makes sense. So if you guys are super into the gym rather than watching, I don't know, Avengers, like one CGI guy beats up another CGI guy in a CGI place, Marvel fans be like, wow. There are YouTubers out there like Jeff Nippard, there's AthleanX, there's More Plates More Dates, there's Coach Greg. I can say all these YouTubers that I believe are good and speak well, and I can speak about that forever, right? But the point is that there's content out there that's positive for you. For example, let's say AthleanX. He speaks a lot about how to perform movements at the gym correctly. He shows form videos. He has literally like a marker that he paints on himself that shows which sort of exercise hits what muscle group, what exact part of the muscle, how the tendons work, how to work out without damaging yourself. It's a lot about injury prevention and things like that. And that's really interesting to me because, for example, I had some neck pain, right? Like a pain on one side of my neck, which turned out to be a shoulder impingement. But nevertheless, before I had gone to the doctor, I had just out of interest watched some videos by AthleanX. And he had basically explained that, oh, well, it could be the trap, it could be here, try these stretching exercises, etc., etc. And not only did I get my little dopamine hit of entertainment because I wanted to watch a YouTube video, I wanted to just sit down and relax, I also learned something that I later applied, and it made the pain better. It didn't make it go away completely because obviously it's just a YouTube video. It's not, you know, it's not the same as going to a professional in real life, which I also did do, by the way. I'm really trying to get rid of this, and it's so much better than doing nothing. Like if I had instead of that watched some random Netflix series, I would have learned nothing, and I probably would have still had the pain, and I would have continued hurting myself by doing pushing exercises, for example. Enough about me, my injuries, and what I'm doing to prevent them. I wanted to keep this video short, probably gone over 5 minutes, which hopefully if you're still here, bro, you're really interested in this stuff and you're going to take action. I just really wanted to say that there's a difference between content that you consume and something else that I can recommend for you guys who are still a little bit spurgy and still really want that dopamine hit of watching standard sort of entertaining content, which is really in between. It is like the most popular podcast on the planet is Joe Rogan Experience, because I find when Joe Rogan has people on who are specialists in their field, for example, let's say he has Jordan Peterson on, Joe Rogan really asks very genuine questions. He seems like a very genuine guy. He asks what he's interested in, and he almost acts like a buffer between the audience and the speaker, and it makes it really easy to understand. Because it's like the person's explaining to Joe something, then Joe asks a question that you as the audience probably want to know, because the specialist probably forgot to mention it because they're speaking about their area of expertise and they probably don't know what an average person might be missing information wise, and Joe is going to ask that little piece of missing information. The specialist fills in and it all becomes really easy listening to the person that's listening, you, and you get the information. So that's a little shameless plug for Joe Rogan Experience there. I hope you make the right choices in the content you consume. And obviously, the content you're consuming right now is one step in the right direction. So, we're all gonna make it, bro. See you later.